At the AI Readiness Project, we believe that in this remarkable age, AI isn't the main character. You are. While the tech is racing ahead, it's the humans who learn to harness AI mindfully that will win. Each week, we meet remarkable people doing just that. Join Kyle Shannon, tech leader and AI instigator, and 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗄, fundraiser and AI consultant, as they lead the conversation about staying grounded, growing smarter, and leading with what makes us human.
Are you ready to lead with what makes us human, 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗄?
I am all about the human part.
I think so too.
I read this research paper this week. Let me see if I remember. I actually read it with my own eyeballs.
Wait, you didn't put it in ChatGPT and say, give me 5 bullet points? Huh.
No. This is part of the reason why I can't remember it.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
But it was actually a couple years old, and it was all about the big difference between when you're working with a human and the AI together, like smoking just AI or just human. It was just like crushing it.
Yep. There was some of it might have been that report. There was an MIT report that the headline of it was people that use ChatGPT are dumber. But what was actually in the report was, if you use it like a collaborator, it makes you way smarter, right? If you use it like a dum-dum,
way smarter.
It makes you a dum-dum. was what their study came up with. It's good that MIT took the time to figure that out for us. I don't know if you know this. This is maybe not common knowledge. A week from Friday, you and I, are going to be hosting a 24-hour AI education-a-thon called AI Festivus, AI for the rest of us.
Yeah,
and that's just over a week out.
Yeah, and let's not forget that it's not one day; it's 2 days.
No.
Of 12 hours.
I'm super excited about it. You and Kate and team have put together the bulk of run of show and a lot of the speakers, and it is such an exciting lineup of speakers. And that's what today's about. Is we've got 5 of our speakers who we're gonna get to meet, which is gonna be awesome, and they're gonna what they're talking about, and it's super exciting. So.
When we say that this is, unique, and that our speakers are elite, and that it's like eclectic and fun and the biggest block party, like you can't do justice to it. And when you see the lineup and you see one banger after another, and every single one of them has a special twist to it, because I know almost all the, and I read, and people are in for the biggest educational, fun, Festivus treat of their life, unless they went last year. But this one might be even better.
I know. Well, we won't know until we get there, but I'm super excited about it. Before we bring everyone up, I wanted to. There's been a lot of new stuff has dropped, right? Usually after November 30th. Which is when ChatGPT launched 3 years ago. All the other model companies try to dump as much technology as possible to, take any wind out of the sails of OpenAI. And there's been a lot of things. There's been today there was the Flash version of Gemini 3, and I think there's a new Nano Banana in Flash 3. I don't know. There's new things. 2 days ago, it was the new ChatGPT image model, which is like Nano Banana Pro, and really good, and just ChatGPT 5.2, and just lots and lots and lots of models. Here's my hot take, Ann. I don't care. I don't care. I used to care. I used to
care a lot.
I used to care a lot. And here's the reason I don't care, because in the early days, when a new thing would come out, the gap from where we were to where it was like palpable as a user. And these models are now improving at the upper end of human cognition and of human performance. So they're getting better up there. My brain is, I don't know, somewhere down here. Like it might just be off screen a little bit. And so I see these things and I'm like, okay, great. If I'm going to solve a new quantum physics dilemma, I should be set. I should be excited. But anyway, it brings us back to, why I wanted to bring this up. It brings us back to Festivus. The thing that blew you and I both out of the water last year, because it wasn't planned. We only had 2 weeks to just put it together. We put it together really. And every single speaker to a speaker did not speak about technology. They talked about who they were, what their values were, all that sort of stuff first, right? And so I'm super excited about this event because I think we're at a place with AI and what's coming in 2026 where I think there's going to be a lot more job displacement and people are trying to figure out what they do with their lives. The human part, the human-centric use of AI feels increasingly important. And so that gets down to who are we? What are we doing? What do we stand for? What are we trying to accomplish in the world? How are we trying to change it? And let's just assume that the AI tools are good enough to help us do that. Right? So anyway.
Right. Yes. Absolutely.
Beautiful. So
let's
why don't
we
let's bring these people up. Let's do this. Let me we have I'll bring them up in order for our banner here. We have Beth.
Oh,
𝗕𝗲𝗁.
There's Beth.
Suzanne. We have Danielle.
And Suzanne.
And we have Cindy. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hello.
Yay.
Welcome. It's so good to have you all. Are you ready for Festivus? I mean, I see we have some festive holiday sweaters, so this is solid. I like it. So what I would love to do is let's just go around the horn. We'll just start with you, Beth. We'll kind of go in the order that we brought you up, and just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you want us to know about what's going on, and then just give us some little thoughts about what's coming up for Festivus, and we'll just go around the rim, and then we'll kind of open the conversation back up.
All right. So my name is Beth Lyons. I am one of the co-hosts of the Daily AI Show and the Sci-Fi AI Show. And what's coming up is a lot more public speaking. I have finished almost. If it's Friday, I will have finished my She Leads AI educator certification. I'm very excited about that.
Congratulations.
And what we're doing a sci-fi kind of segment for our Festivus. 𝗕𝗲𝗁 and I will both be doing that because if you know sci-fi at all, you all know we are living in a sci-fi movie right now as our everyday reality.
It is, isn't it? It's like either that or all the sci-fi movies of our childhood were documentaries, one or the other. It's like choice, right?
And the wild thing, of course, is that Douglas Adams got it more correct than anything because if AI were conscious and could talk, it would be complaining about all the idiotic questions we're asking.
Amazing. Amazing. Beautiful.
Yeah.
𝗕𝗲𝗁.
Hi, I'm 𝗕𝗲𝗁. I'm a co-host like Beth for the Daily AI Show and the Sci-Fi AI Show. Sci-Fi AI Show, we concentrate on that Venn diagram of science fiction and AI today, like Beth said. One of the things that we like to concentrate on is to highlight things like the philosophical or the humanity that you're able to explore through the safety of the sci-fi genre. And so at Festivus, these are the kind of topics and insight and way to look at the world through that sci-fi lens, in particular on how advanced and how science fiction is today.
Yeah, you're talking the Venn diagram. Is it? We're getting fairly close to it just being a circle, right?
Right, right. Remarkably so, both in the positive and negative sides of the genre, or I should say, so sci-fi tends to highlight a lot of the dark side of technology. Yeah. So maybe that's something that we need to spend just a little more time analyzing and taking note of.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, welcome. Suzanne.
Hello. So I'm a product manager at Adobe in my daytime life, and in my after hours and all weekend, I work on a lot of AI projects and attend a lot of sessions with Anne, like she leads AI, amazing. But my background is in marketing and creative processes. So I work at Adobe on a product called Gen Studio, which is really about developing the content supply chain. So I'll be working on some projects next year where they're adding an AI into that. And then, which is super cool. And then in the rest of my hours, I do a lot of AI prototyping. As Kyle mentions often, I've built a lot of GPTs, including one called Manifest Your Dream Life, which has over 25,000 conversations, which is kind of the idea that sparked what I'm going to be presenting at AI Festivus. I'm co-presenting with Marisol Rios, and we're going to be talking about manifesting and affirmations and a bunch of that. Like, I think she calls herself the AI witch. So a lot of fun things there. And I make a lot of affirmations, like schedule them. They're like reminders. You know, we get distracted throughout the day. So I have these mindfulness breaks or affirmations that are super easy to set up. So I'll be showing people how they can do that with a tool like ChatGPT. And I'm also built a automation recently as part of a class I took. And I'll show under the hood how that is, like when you go from a GPT to a larger automation. So look under the hood, but it generates affirmations. So super cool. Yeah.
Super cool. Yeah. I love the mix of technology, like beyond human, right? And we're into the other realm, the beyond realm. I love that.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people, you know, what I found, I've been doing manifesting work since like 2016, 2017. Yeah. And I saw a lot of people were like asking people to write them affirmations, like personalized. And that's kind of where the idea sparked from. And they would pay people all this money to write them all these like affirmations and make recordings for them. And I'm like, you can do that with the tools we have now.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. Lovely. Welcome. Danielle.
Hi, I'm really curious about this AI and alien thing. That's what I want to be on. Like, I like this circle thing happening. I'm all, and then we'll do affirmations while we're meeting the aliens. Like, we'll just like create custom affirmations for them while we're doing that. I think that sounds great. I'm Danielle. I am the founder of Easy as Pie. You can easyaspie.ai. We work in operations, and so we streamline ops for companies and businesses that want to make sure that they survive the next wave of the economy. Usually, I think really what I like to talk about is the end of the world, which is really fun. We call it post-labor economics. But basically, like, what happens when AI takes over your job? and then where do we go? Like, what does that economy look like? And how do we like do that? And it really does, a lot of the conversation really does go back down to finding the humanity within yourself and applying that into your economy. So that's really what I'll be talking about. I like calling it the end of the world keynote. That's always I don't think I'm allowed to actually put that as my official title for the keynote. I think I sent like an official title, but yeah, it's my favorite topic. Like, and basically at the end of the day, the whole point is making sure not only that you're prepared, but thriving in the next wave as the economy changes. And I think there's so many opportunities by utilizing AI for us to really tap into our humanity, which has been mentioned a couple times. I feel like we're all in the same wavelength in this conversation about really digging deep into what makes you and how to become a better version of you and a happier version of you and a more complete version of you. And I think there's massive amounts of opportunity and positive things that are coming down the pipeline that will allow us as a humanity, as a society, to grow into that. And then we'll add the aliens somehow. I don't know. I don't know
Then
how
we'll have
to.
the aliens.
Then we'll have aliens. I don't know how to sneak the
Danielle.
aliens into there, but yeah.
No, it's good. And then we'll keep good holiday sweaters. Cindy,
Can I? I have to comment. I have to comment on Danielle first.
Yeah.
Because it's a tie-in to one of the things that I love about Festivus so much. It's like Danielle just modeled the most perfect elevator pitch for like a relational situation that could ever be on the face of the planet. That was beautiful. Yep. You probably didn't, I don't know if you know, but I'm doing that in the same context as I'm talking about hunting down aliens and talking about manifesting my very best life. It's awesome. It's awesome. And
Festivus is a menagerie.
It's a menagerie. And the other thing about it is that I think, you know, Danielle's topic and the way she shares it is a perfect example of helping, you know, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people understand what they need to pay attention to if they own a business, which everybody's going to.
Yeah.
And then people can reach out to Danielle.
Yeah.
And then it's helpful to Danielle too, and it's helpful to all of us. But Danielle, I want to be sure, and you guys, everybody who wants to, that you have a booth in the virtual expo, so that after your talk, people can go connect with you. And people who are listening, we have a virtual expo, so put that on your dance card. It's going to be open, I think, starting tomorrow, and you can get to it on the website.
Beautiful. AIFestivus.com. Beautiful. Cindy, last but not least, tell us who you are and what's happening.
My name is Cindy Williams, and I am on the same wavelength as Danielle with the 4 courses of hell that we're living through. But my focus is Main Street business. So I took a very analog job recently as advertising and business services for a printed newspaper on paper. And I'm helping small rural businesses in the state of Mississippi kind of shore up for the next 5 to 10 years of transition from everybody's working a W-2 to, like Ann said, everybody owns their own business. So teaching AI skills, helping them establish process and ahead of implementing AI, and then helping them not get screwed by tech bros who want to sell them all kinds of AI toys that aren't going to work for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fascinating, beautiful. Let me drop us. There we go. What's this one look like? Oh, that was nice. Beautiful. So what I would love to do, and you teed this up, and you want to ask the question, the sort of first question of last year? You want me to tee it up?
What you been up to?
Yeah.
That one?
That one.
So, yeah, that one. So 2025 being what it was. A lot of things happened. And exactly. And all of us have had interesting years, particularly most of us being in a repotting era of our lives, right? There's an element of we got root bound somewhere and now we're going into the next era. So I'd love to hear, how has that been for folks? From
last Festivus to this Festivus, right?
From last Festivus to this Festivus.
What's happened? What's changed? And we can go in any order. Whoever wants to talk first, I'll throw you in the spotlight.
I'll go first.
Great.
Yay.
I will say that AI Festivus changed everything about what I do this year, what I have done this year. Oh. It changes the way I share my intellectual projects, my intellectual product itself. And it gave me insights and confidence to actually learn in public and to put my ideas out there, even when I wasn't ready, even when they weren't ready, and to grow it organically over time. And so between then and now, last year I was unemployed in December and attended Festivus. And
Oh, wow.
this year I received, I got landed a job and have implemented AI at a static newspaper, at a fledgling business that needs to pivot and meet the moment. And we've implemented systems, we've implemented redundancies, we've provided breathing room for both editorial as well as advertising
Wow.
using AI tools. So had I not participated and attended Festivus, I don't know that I would be where I am today.
Wow. Okay. I'm not saying this is any other pressure on the other four of you, but you know, come on, we got to step it up and talk about how awesome Festivus is. Who wants to go next? Who wants to follow that? Thank you, Cindy. That's beautiful.
That fills my heart.
You're welcome.
That fills my heart.
I will totally follow up, Cindy, with this is my first Festivus. So if I even get like half of the benefit that Cindy got out of her first Festivus, then I'm golden.
We're
That'll
doing
be
okay. Yeah,
fantastic. That'll be fantastic. Yeah, I mean, the year in recap has essentially just been a whirlwind of, you know, AI growth and movement. And I mean, for me personally, I always like applied, right? There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of, oh, this could be, and you know, and of course the big companies are always pushing their latest and greatest. But I think the big takeaway for me is in the applied world, we're seeing some major movements, and that brings me some hope in with all of the darker things that have come through the year and the stresses of the year. And I think that's kind of what this time of year and having Festivus around and the kind of experience that you can get from it is a great way to put a positive cap on the year and a great start for the upcoming year. So that's kind of my hopes, and that's kind of what I'm looking for from this entire experience.
That's great. Can you talk a little, 𝗕𝗓𝗄, when you say about, you know, the applied space, like what does that look like? You know, how has that shifted over the year?
Sure. Well, in particular, the kind of things that I've been focusing on, like AI and science, is initially the way that we had applied AI was simply to review information, review data, and then that being a compression of time, saving time from the individual, or in this case, the individual scientist. But now what we're seeing is the analysis, the deeper analysis of the entire data set and providing potential next steps. And that's, I think, the greatest growth in applied AI and science. So now we have AI that can do the mundane or the more tedious parts of science and encapsulate all of that, analyze it, and give us potential, you know, thousands or tens of thousands of directions that just literal time would not allow us, as, you know, as individual human scientists, to go in a particular direction.
Amazing.
And so that's kind of the high point. And I can't wait for what's the next step coming.
Yeah, 2026, right? Where the experiments just start to do themselves. Crazy. Beautiful. Right. Beth, Suzanne, Danielle, who wants to jump up?
I can jump.
Great.
Oh, go, Suzanne.
So last year I spoke about what's the problem we're solving. And I know I'm probably the annoying person in the room always asking that question, because people are immediately jumping to showing all the cool things they're vibe coding and everything. And I'm like, super cool, but what are you planning to do with this? Right. And so this last year, I've really started building more of a framework and speaking about it. I spoke at the Crate conference for She Leads AI about kind of that thought process from the discovery all the way to building out your requirements and doing that design work and then building that thing and the change management. So it's not, especially if you're more than one person, there's a lot of other things you have to think about. So that's really what I've been focused on this year. And I've started to build out kind of a framework. I know I've seen some templates and some other things out there where people are like kind of, I don't know, frameworks for building it, but it's still focused on the how and not the what and the why. So I really am trying to get people to start thinking about that upfront piece.
Beautiful. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I think what strikes me, Suzanne, about however you said it, what are we trying to accomplish here? What was
what's the problem we're solving?
Yeah, what's the problem we're solving here? I don't think that's a question you can ask enough. Like, I literally don't think it's a question you can ask enough, because back in the early days of the web, it was the same thing. Oh, I need a website. I need a website. And you go back to that. AI, because it is so much more pervasive and so much more transformative, it is super seductive, right? And it looks like a strategy, and it's not. It's not.
It's not. You're right. It's just like another tool, right? And I myself, and I know probably all of us, it's easy to jump into a new tool and build something, but then I stop and go, well, what am I going to do with this thing that I built, or maintain it, or whatever? So yeah.
Beautiful. Love it. Beth, I think you had your hand up next.
Yeah, so if I remember the things that were really hitting me at Festivus last year, and it happened right after 𝗕𝗵𝘄 and OpenAI dropped all of the things that felt really impactful, but somehow you didn't really get access to them, or they were like, what we were remembering this year was, can they bring the Santa voice back? Like, that was really fun. Let's talk to Santa, right? But I think the promise that I saw in Festivus and the ways that I was inspired have sort of grown exponentially, right? I can do more with video. There was a gentleman who talked about just download the YouTube transcript and then be able to discuss back and forth with it. Now you can upload your add your link to your notebook LM. You can ask YouTube, you can ask the video questions within YouTube. There's just so much that has happened this year. And I feel you, Kyle, in like some of it is like, you could slow down now, right? Like you could stop.
Exactly.
You could
just take current state of technology and probably be good for 5 years.
Yes, which is also one of the talking points for AI, right? Like you could stop it today and we still need to have the conversation because so much has changed that hasn't felt the impact yet.
Beautiful. Love it. And Danielle, what's 2025? One word, go.
I was going to say, well, we haven't said it yet, so I got a lot of problems with you, 2025. A lot. Festivus, Seinfeld. Nobody said it. I was very surprised. Got a lot of problems with you, 2025. What I find interesting is that if you do follow like the woo stuff, 2025 was the year of the snake, which is about shedding, which is about getting rid of that 9-year cycle of just crap. Right? There's just so much crap that happened in 2025, and we've had a foundation of crap happening over the last few years. And even while there's so much good, it feels like there's this overhaul of baloney happening as well. And as we're ending out 2025 and as we're kind of going into 2026 is quote the year of the horse, which is about movement and going forward and fresh starts and like excitement and joy and creation and stuff like that. So I'm super excited about 2026 because I feel like we really had to work internally and maybe work on a lot of like, where are our ethics? What are our boundaries? What are our values? Like when we talk about AI, we were all very excited about it. But as 2025 seemed to move along, we're like learning all these things, and we're like, I don't know if I really agree with that, or maybe I really want to implement it this way and not that way. How do we make this a place where we can all grow and really create a change in the positive direction? I feel like that's a mantra for a lot of people who are attracted to Festivus AI Salon and Create AI. So, or She Creates AI. How is it, Anne? Is it She Creates AI? AI creates, she leads something? Yeah, She Leads AI.
Yeah.
So we all, it's all those words. Pick your genre. But I feel as we move into 2026, what I've learned from 2025 is that you have to shed. You have to work through what that is, because if you don't dig down and figure out what are those blockages, what are the things that I do not agree with, where are my morals, where am I going to stand, how can I take my business, how do I take my family, how do I take my community, how do I take myself to that next level? And if we are going to implement technology to help us become better, if we are going to implement technology to make our companies better, make our businesses better, make our communities better, then you have to know what those are, and you have to work through that. So while we could say 2025 is really hard, I also feel like it was a great opportunity for us to face that and really come to terms about what that is, because now that we're moving in 2026, we each have a decision to make. You individually each are going to make a decision to make. And like, how am I going to participate in the future? And what do I want to see? And what am I bringing into my reality? Right. And so you can do that with the affirmations. You can do that with, you know, looking at how you're building your business. There's so many different avenues to take advantage of that. But I am super excited about 2026 because I think that so many of us took the 2025 and dug in and said, we're going to deal with this. We're going to work through this, because if I don't, I can't make things better.
Beautiful. That's lovely. You know, it's funny. I knew 2025 was year of the snake. Like my TikTok feed is full of a lot of people talking about, you know, I'm glad it's over. I hate snakes, you know, a lot of that stuff. And I didn't realize 2026 was year of the horse. But in the past week, 3 different times, like unrelated, but it's come up really clearly, has been the word momentum. And my
same.
Really? My thought for 2026 is
momentum.
I want to do everything I can to keep the wheel, like, you know, get the wheel starting to spin and keep the momentum going. And anything that I'm doing that's going to stop that momentum, I've got to get it out. I've got it, like, so there's something for me about momentum that that feels so important to where we're headed. So, you know, I love where the conversation's going.
Well, Kyle, it's not just getting stuff out of the way. Also, it's like where to pour in. You know, like that feels so much like after Danielle shared, like that feels so much more. It's so much more positive flowing.
Yeah.
Choosing which lane or which whatever metaphor.
Well, and it's also, I mean, I think that
be a good year.
I think that the focus, us as a sort of, I'll just call it, you know, a generative AI community emerging out of the tool phase, which, you know, I think 2025, we finally shed that. But to the extent that you focus on the tools, that is a very fragmented world, and increasingly fragmented. And even individual tools are now 20 tools. They're not, ChatGPT is not one tool, it's 30. Right? Like every video tool now also does audio synthesis and image generate, like everyone's doing everything. So there's all this fragmentation out there, and just all of them feel like momentum busters, right? So, so this is, I'm digging this conversation. Where are your minds going? Anyone just jump in.
So I think part of what we want to sort of name in this is that this is an opportunity to engage with the momentum, because the momentum is going to engage with you. It's not like you could just sit still. That's not how this is working. And by being, you know, by engaging with it, by making some choices, by getting involved with a simple tool, or where you love it, right? When I learned to play the piano, they were like, no, don't just learn to play one song that you really love, because you'll practice that until you get it. Same idea. Like, where is your entry point here? But I love the momentum, and it can feel really scary if it feels like you're not involved in it, right? It's just passing you by.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, I think from what I'm looking for, I guess from what I've started this year and what looking for next year is more of the self-enablement. And this is kind of connected to that concept of momentum, is we have these tools. And I think this is what vibe coding kind of resonated with a lot of people, and what made it so popular is, here's a barrier that, always, like the concept in the mind of this is that, oh, okay, well, I have to invest so much time. This is sort of like learning the piano, like Beth was talking about. I have to spend so much time and effort to learn this entire new language or languages before I can do anything with it.
Before I can even start.
Exactly. And now there's, with all of these tools, with these capabilities, the concepts of, I can do it myself. I can empower myself to overcome that one barrier or those two barriers that I thought was keeping myself back. It also means we don't have any excuses anymore either. Right?
Yeah.
So we can't say, oh, I was waiting for this thing, or I really had to pay a programmer to build that thing. It's like, no, not anymore. You can get started on it now, right? So that being able to to control one's destiny, if we're going to make it sound grandiose, but anything that lowers the barriers, allows us to accomplish or express ourselves, whether that be creatively, through business or whatnot. I think that's, for me, that's the biggest takeaway, right? I don't know who said it or who I heard it from first, but AI was sort of created to be a mirror to ourselves, right? To help us analyze our own humanity, help us see what kinds of things that do we like what we see. Is it reflected back to us, and is there places for us to grow or anything like that? And that's the big benefit of AI. It's, yes, here, look at yourself. Here is where you can improve. Here's a great tool, great technology that allows you to keep moving forward and keep accomplishing those goals that you might not have thought were possible before. It's all possible now. It's just, what part do you want to start with? And that's kind of that hope-raising, that uplifting thoughts and concepts that I want to latch onto for next year.
I love that. Let me expand on that, 𝗠𝗲𝗓, and put it to the rest of the group. If you're an entrepreneur, by definition, you ask yourself a lot, what do I want and what are my values? And if you're naturally entrepreneurial, those are questions that are just part of being an entrepreneur. There's a lot of people that are going to be forced into entrepreneurship. Anne said it before, we're all going to have a business. And so I'm just curious what the other of you, your thoughts are on this idea of, what about people that for the last 20 years maybe haven't had to think about who they are, what their values are, what they want. They show up at their job, they're told what to do, and they're happy with that. And all of a sudden now they're going to be sort of thrust into this, you can do anything you want, which can feel very daunting if you haven't been asking yourself, well, what do I really want? So I'm just curious to reflect on that for a bit, because it seems the psychological side of this is really important.
Oh, I have lots of thoughts on that. So many thoughts on that. I think what we have to also understand is that as an entrepreneur, we tend to surround ourselves with entrepreneurs, and that's how we think. But as somebody who comes from a family who did the 9 to 5, the beauty of the 9 to 5 was that was 9 to 5, and I went home, and then that's where my value was, with at home. There's not as big disconnect as we think there is.
Oh, interesting.
Because they're already connected to who they are. Who they are is within the home. Right. And so what we are is we are constantly kind of maybe working these 80, 90 hours weeks, and we blend this, right? We don't separate it out. Well, they've already separated it. So I would challenge that thought process and say, like, maybe it's not going to be as a struggle as you possibly might think. It's just they're going to 9 to 5 their entrepreneurship like a healthy individual, and maybe we're the ones.
Maybe they've got it right.
Maybe we already have it. Now, I could be wrong on this, but the point of what we work on a lot of the times is like our goal in our company is we want to make sure that you can expand, but your expansion doesn't have to be profit. Your expansion could be time simply to spend with family. It could be simply to be able to give that profit back and to grow in other ways. Like expansion doesn't always have to be monetary. It could be simply with time. It could be with the values that you have. We as entrepreneurs have constantly had this joy where we love what we do so much, we do it all the time. But we have, how many people do you know have had horrifying relationships because all they do is sit in front of the computer and like, I don't know, whatever, right? And so
I feel seen.
Yeah. Computers, right? But I would say that regardless of what your job is, your priority on earth is to be able to answer those questions. And it's sad when you don't have that opportunity or take the opportunity to find out who you are and really delve into that. And that's a struggle regardless if you're employed or not employed. That is just a simple human thing that you have to work on. And that's going to happen regardless of what's happening externally within the environment of the economy. That's just simply a question that we have. What we have is an opportunity that there's access for more people to ask that question because we're moving out of survival mode. And that is the real caveat change that's creating. When you are no longer in survival mode, there is this mass opportunity that allows you to say, wait, who am I? Because when you're in survival, it's not who am I, it's surviving. It doesn't matter who you are, right? That is not a question that you need to answer. But when you don't have survival mode anymore, which is the direction that AI seems to be taking us, then the opportunity to ask, well, wait, what do I enjoy? Who do I love? And my point would probably be your family and touching grass and chickens. So like, have fun.
Love it.
And it's true. It's sort of like what social media started to do where you could find your people, right? You could put something out there and they found you and they reflected back to you. So it wasn't so much that you were the only one of you in your small town. You could still find your community. That's true now for ideas, right? AI can reflect back to you. Yes, you're right. We should make unicorn horn sneakers. Let's just like do that and see what's happening with that, right? So there's you get to create your own community with all of these other ideas that you have that you didn't have enough time or resources to go and try to find those people. You can be that people. And you like sometimes that's 3 hours on a Friday night. Well, I did that. That's cool. I don't need to do it now. And sometimes it's a really good idea you want to go and talk to other people about.
It's so exciting. There's I call the era that we're entering the Great Renaissance, and I think what it's going to look like is people are going to create just weird stuff that no one would have imagined. Like, why would you do that? But all their life they've been thinking about unicorn sneakers or whatever it is, right? And they're like, I can do that now, and they're just going to do it, right? And so we're just going to end up with a world full of weird, wonderful things. I think, I hope, right? Make it a place of joy. Sunday, what are your thoughts?
I come to it from a different perspective, and the perspective I have is more extractive. I see the technology that's being implemented by people that lack empathy and a vision for the future. We have the greatest technology and the ability to make the largest change in all of human history, and OpenAI is talking about how porn is appropriate for children. And this administration is talking about making 14-year-old children tried as adults, able to be married, and things of that nature. So we've taken a technology that we could have provided wealth, food, and shelter for the entire global population, and we are doing the same extractive thing that we have done during the Dark Ages, during the Great Depression, all of the times that we've had this opportunity. We, as a human race, as capitalism, as patriarchy, as all of the bad parts of the Bible, and we have just tossed it into the ring and said, sure, we could. but we're not gonna. And so I come to this moment in time seeing a number of people unemployed, myself included. It took me 2 years to find work.
Wow.
And in that 2-year time frame, we're talking iteration after iteration after iteration. And I had been laid off in the past. I had had that experience. And my concern is for the people who have never experienced it,
Yeah.
the people who thought that the social contract would manage their future, their retirement. And we are going to see an increase of wealth transfer, not from the boomers to the millennials, skipping Gen X entirely, screw them all, but the transfer of wealth from the boomers to the medical field, the boomers to end life care, from the boomers to the strategically built extractive systems that are operating as intended. And it will leave a number of people disillusioned without purpose, without the ability to pivot and meet the moment, or identify the problem that we're solving, or move forward in a way that embraces this new technology. And I see it in the rural South much the same way as I see colonialism and imperialism infiltrating the global South. So the US South is very much impacted by extractive systems like Meta putting in a data center that is the size of Manhattan in the poorest county of Louisiana. That is not an isolated incident. And so that one data center will use more electricity than 1 million homes. There is no impulse to make it safer environmentally, to make it more efficient for energy, for water, for cooling, for all the things. So I do hope that we have unicorn horn sneakers. I really, really do, because I do think that is possible. But I also think in the next 5 to 10 years, if we don't make some real demands and really put forth the energy and effort, there will be a number of people left behind. And that, we saw millions of people die during a pandemic. And my fear is that it will be much the same, and it will show the same level of discernment, because it will fall along the same lines of those who have and those who do not.
Yeah.
So I do come from it from a little bit less rosy kind of perspective. But I do have hope for the future, and I see that hope played out in community. I see that hope played out in connection, in this strangeness that we find ourselves in. This group has talked about all of the different pieces of technology that touch our lives, and yet we see Gen Z embracing an analog life. We see them wanting to read the newspaper and have phone-free events. So I think there's balance. I think it's possible, but I think the window of changing these extractive systems that are working as intended, I think our window of opportunity is closing.
Fascinating. Well, and I hope, this is a great conversation. I hope that in a small way that Festivus can serve as a pathway to have open conversations, talk about what's possible from an optimistic standpoint, but also from here's the things we've got to manage moving forward. These tools are available for all of us. How are we going to use them? Which I think, Suzanne, that kind of tees you up to go back to what are we going to do with these things? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of my approach has been tool agnostic, and thinking really more about what is it that you're doing and not worrying, because the tools are going to come and go. I think a lot next year, what I'm going to focus my time is really thinking, as companies are moving more towards agentic workflows, what's the value as a human I am bringing? Right? Because I think trying to understand that because, right now a lot of work is done manually or maybe AI assisted. So what does that look as you move to AI first, or agentic, or even multi-agent workflows? Because it's like, if you were to map that out, it will look like from the user to the input, and it just went through an agent and not all those people. So, but we still have work and value that we're bringing, but I think it's going to be really easy to go, well, the agent's just going to do it all, right? So trying to map that out to show where in those different stages that we do bring values as the human in the loop, right?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we push back to more simple connections and feeding chickens and things like that.
Yeah.
So we started out before we went live. Cindy was out with her phone feeding her chickens. It was awesome. It was fantastic. Anne, what are your thoughts?
You know what? I don't have nothing new to add.
That's beautiful. I'll tell you what we'll do then. Here's where we're going to go. We're going to go to the question we ask all of our guests all the time. And what I would like to do, especially, this has been a really, really good conversation. So thank you all for your thoughtful everything. You're just the way you're all approaching this. And this is, one of the things that I was excited about most for Festivus last year, and then these conversations that we've had for the past 2 weeks here with the speakers, is this is a really thoughtful, human-centric group of people that are coming together to talk about this. And this podcast, the AI Readiness Project, is about, what does that mean? Let's explore what that means, because I don't think any of us really know. So I'd love to just sort of go around the horn. I'll just sort of I'll call your names out and you just go. So Danielle, what does AI readiness mean to you?
God. So AI readiness, to me, that's such a good question. And there's so many different ways you can kind of answer that. I loved everything that you said, Cindy, because those are really great. I just want to that's so important to understand reality versus optimism and opportunity. Right. And it all goes back down to that choice. And I think all of us in here are we don't want what you talked about. Right. We are here stating this is not the direction that any of us want to go. And we want to make sure to take as many people along with us that we possibly can, because it is a defunct system. Right. And so many people are stuck in this defunct system, and we have the opportunity to make the choice to choose differently. And it's up to each of us to step into the game and choose differently. So when it comes to AI readiness, to that, a lot of the times when I think about this kind of question, I think about selfishly internalizing that and say, how am I going to be AI ready? What am I doing to prepare myself for the next wave? I'm super excited about the Gen Alpha, because I think they're going to be more AI ready than any other generation ever, right? They're not going to put up with this baloney. I know we got some rough stuff going on, but I don't see Gen Alpha putting up with the baloney that we've been putting up with for the last 10,000 years. They're going to say, peace, bitch, out. We're not doing that, right? So, and I think about AI readiness, again, it goes back to me personally. I think it's about really digging into what are my values, what are my boundaries, what am I going to create, who am I dragging along with me, AKA, am I building the boat? Anne talks about this before, where we build the boat, and if you didn't build the boat, that's okay. You can come on my boat, right? We're taking you all, as many as we can, with us. And it's about freeing you from being in that scarcity mindset, freeing you from being in the survival mode. My goal is, what can I do to get as many people out of survival mode as I possibly can? That is the mission of the company. So that's where we go.
Beautiful. Suzanne.
Amen.
Yeah, right.
There's something to be said about the fun and the curiosity and the willingness to try things out and explore all that's possible, play with everything. And, as I always focus on, really figure out what it is that you are going to use AI for. But there's a topic that I don't think enough people talk about, which is change management. How are you currently operating today? What's not working with that, and what's possible? Thinking through that framework and understanding what is that change management, whether it's yourself, right, or within a company. It's really important to think through, bringing people with you instead of dragging them or forcing them, but really helping them see the benefits of how it can help them improve, especially if there's a lot of fear, right? Oh my gosh, they're having me do all this AI, and then next year I'm going to get laid off because AI will replace me. So really thinking through, again, back to what I was just saying earlier about finding the value, freeing them up from all those small administrative things and letting them bring real value to their jobs.
Yeah. Everyone sort of bringing their whole self and expanding on that. Sandy, what does AI readiness mean to you?
AI readiness, in terms of small towns, because that really is my focus right now, not waiting. There are so many people out there who, well, is ChatGPT the best one? Well,
Right,
the
right.
best, the best AI is the one you use on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Well, should I wait until it's good? Should I wait and like what, and to what Suzanne said earlier, the tools are going to change. But what you don't want to happen is 5 years from now go, oh shit, I should have learned ChatGPT.
I should have. Yeah.
I should have. So for me, being AI ready is the ability to be agile, both in the way that you learn, in the way that you look at the world, and what you see as potential. For me, I think that there are two ways that I look at AI. AI has allowed me to have the same assistant that a middle manager had in 1950. And so to be able to offload tasks, to be able to collaborate and, augment what I don't know, help me understand what it is I don't know. So those modes of learning need to be something that people embrace, in my opinion, because we're not AI ready if we are resistant to what's possible. And so that really, for small towns, for me, that's really where it's at. And I think that there are a lot of companies out there that have changed the world for good, but they haven't necessarily made it better. And so my job in all of this is not just to change small towns for good, but to make sure that I make them better. So that's, for me, is what being AI ready is all about.
Love that. Beth. Wow. Oh, you're muted.
I agree with what everybody has said. And for me, AI readiness has a little bit more of an external focus. So I feel very strongly that the people around me, the people that are hearing me speak, need to understand what's possible now. I don't know if people remembered, but there was like a ship that was dressed up like a pirate ship that went into a bridge a couple of months ago, and everyone who was in the AI world that I know went, wait, like, are there other angles of this accident? Are more people talking about it? Because it seemed like such an obvious AI video thing, right? And, your voice is your password. It isn't. Nope, right? All of those kinds of things. I want parents to understand what's possible to do and what they need, the kinds of conversations they need to be having with their kids. I want us to be telling our parents what's possible to do. I feel that is a readiness that even if you don't know how to use ChatGPT, you still need to know, because the reality of the world is shifting in the same way that it shifted when electricity happened, or phones happened, right? Or cell phones happened. I still talk to people who are talking to themselves in the grocery store because I haven't made that shift. That's
awesome.
what I think is really important.
Beautiful. 𝗠𝗲, bring us home on what does AI readiness mean to you?
So I've said before, AI readiness, and a lot of people have said this, you want to keep your mind open. You want to constantly learn, be comfortable with not knowing what you don't know, and just explore more, in that constant learning, or that constant learning mindset. But beyond that, I think AI readiness today means definitely don't get in your own way. Lower the barriers where you can, and don't limit yourself, because there are less and less limits, and you don't need to be the one that's limiting you and your ideas, your creativity, what you want to accomplish or anything like that. There's enough of that, externally in the world. You don't need to be the one that's putting up your own barriers. So that's kind of what I'd be focusing on. And of course, if you want to be AI ready, join the rest of us at AI Festivus.
That's it, AI Festivus. So that's it. Well, thank you all very, very much for your time. And thank you so much. This is awesome. I'm so excited for next weekend.
Me too.
This Friday. We begin December 26th. We start at 9 a.m. Pacific. Get ready. Have your caffeine. Get your hydration. And let's do this.
You want DoorDash? You want many, many beverages.
Exactly. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Really, really great conversation today. Thank you all.
Aloha.